Well, it's my trailer. And we have a secret location. Nobody knows we're recording. But I'm not breaking any rules. Now check out this unusual load. Sit tight, don't touch that remote. Beautiful load. Yeah, a bit tricky, but Ray's center was not too much in the way, except that you see, because he can lift, right? He can adjust the height, and it helps that I did a similar one. If you remember, there was that red kind of like a water pump. I did a few videos back. they did exactly the same thing. The guy backed it, and this thing is pretty tall. I measured in the back, it was like 14-15 inches from the ground, and so when it was coming too close, I just asked him, you know, to raise the front, and this way he was able to adjust. Now this poor guy here, nice looking Pete. And what's inside here is some kind of a mixing machine. And this guy was disconnecting the truck from the trailer. And now he's towing the truck. It's a classic Pete 379 with a 20,000 front axle, 4-axle truck. Yeah, I think it's 379. And he's towing an international truck. Okay, let me quickly show you guys how I secure this thing in case some new driver ever deals with that. Sometimes they do ship stuff like this. So all you can use is this frame in here. And one trick is you always have to know the weight. If it's over 10,000 pounds, it qualifies as heavy machinery. You must have 4 chains, 4 binders, not just one chain in here. It must be one, ideally one on each corner, but since there's no corners in here, so at least if the DOT inspector stops me, I say, hey, where do you want me to hook up in the corner? There's nothing here. And of course you cannot put straps over it because you're going to damage it. It's not that strong. And so I put one, you see, pulling this way, the other on the other side. And see, I love this. If you guys remember my Kaufman, this was causing me so much trouble. See how the D-rings are above the deck? On the Kaufman, they were in the middle. And then I just put this one, you know, for extra safety, you know, just basically to push down, because this thing is so light, it's just 10,000 pounds. And then in the back, there's nothing else. You just have to use axles. See? Just one trick is, you see, like this one is a very old trailer, probably that's why they have us to move it like this, because it has no brakes. See those wires over there? The wires are disconnected, right? But when I have to hook up like this, I always check that there's no wiring and no hydraulic hoses. And I love this. I use my new binders, and I already get stuck. I couldn't move them. I had to lubricate them with that chain lube, chain oil. It works very well. Actually, it does have the plate, Missouri plate. Interesting. Okay, my rear axle is up, suspension is up, because yeah, it's very light. And the same thing here. And you see, I love this. If I use my regular binders, there wouldn't be enough room here. They would be sticking out like here, which is not good because this is a legal load. So these come in very handy, but they're not as rust resistant as the big ones. Like, I'm surprised. Yeah, he wanted to put a box in here, and then somebody called him and said, no, that has to go inside. So they had to cut the lock and put the box inside. And then you see, we use this, right? My board, so now it sits on these. Because the guy says, maybe we can drop this, the leg, it'll sit on the leg. I said, no way. So this is just thin metal. And that thing is very, I know those are very flimsy. We could have put a board in here, but I never trust these, you know, support legs. It's much better to do it this way. See, 3 boards, it sits, and this chain pushes it further into the wood, into the frame. So that's how we load it. Okay. Now I just need to hide this strap. I don't know why I had the extra strap. Yeah, I thought I'd be using 2. This is not mine, this is just garbage. I'm gonna get rid of it somewhere. Yeah, and thanks for the tip to one of the guys, right? Like last year, somebody told me about this. Chain lube. I love this stuff. You see, it's for motorcycles. Because this thing does not attract dirt, unlike WD-40. So it does not attract dirt, and it repels moisture, and it stays on even on a chain. It does not disappear very quickly. So this is perfect for chains and binders. I buy it in Canada. Canadian Tire sells them for like $8 or $9 Canadian. Very handy. I had to raise the trailer because it's a bit like there's a big hill in here getting out of the yard. Alright, so 414 miles to Pilot Flying J in Fort Erie, just across the river from Buffalo. So very light load. My fifth wheel is pretty much empty. Like hardly any weight. No, that looks very safe. What can go wrong? Oh, it still sits on the legs. I thought the legs were broken. All right, so now we just have to follow this little street in here.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto US 20 West.
Actually, I like these, light loads, except that I had to do so much deadhead, right? But it was just unfortunate that I could not pick up that Wordgen cold planer. I hate those things. And at first, when I was coming this way, this building has the same number. All buildings on this street have the same number, just they have different letters after the number, like A, B, C, D. And this building was what I had in my paperwork. So I stop here, and right away I see that something is wrong. Like there's only small cars everywhere. I don't see any dock. Like there was a small dock, but nothing that would fit my trailer. Like, and I'm thinking, what the heck? And some lady was walking towards the front door, and she says, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yeah, well, I'm looking for this." "Oh, just go that way." She said, "The guy, we all have the same numbers, except that guy is," she said, "refuses to change the letter after the number. Like it's supposed to be different." Uh-oh. See, I don't like these hills like this. Well, I didn't catch the ground, that's good. Now here's a very dangerous intersection because the speed limit is 55. People from there, of course, are flying 75. And I was turning here. I was coming from that way, and I stopped here because I saw a sign for the address here. And I waited till the road was clear. Then I started turning. Some guy flies from out of there, like, I don't know, 80 miles an hour.
Continue on US 20 West for 7 miles.
So I'm gonna put on my flashes on for these crazy race drivers. It was a bit chilly in the morning, -7 Celsius, or probably, I'm guessing, 15 F. But now it's now it's 0 Celsius, 32 F. to Big White North, small country north of the US border. When I stopped last time, I was checking my shocks on the truck because I noticed that the front started riding a bit rough, even for this setback axle, and I changed my shocks 1 year ago. All shocks on the Kaufman and on the truck. This was like last week of December or beginning of January, but I remember I shut down for like 2 weeks, and everything was done, and they made sure that correct shocks were installed. Cost me a lot of money, like $2,000 Canadian, 2,000 Canadian for truck and trailer. And some people are saying, why are you doing it like that? Like, you know, the truck was 1 year old. So now I did a visual inspection of all the shocks, and two at the front definitely have oil leaking from the top. So, and they're all cold, and I don't want to lose my tires again, because if that's what happened to the front tires. They started capping after the first year, and the problem was, and this started happening because of the shocks. So if you don't change your shocks, you lose your tires, and that's $1,000 Canadian. So I figured, you know, I need to change the shocks. But this is a Mack truck, and that's one downside to not owning a Freightliner, is that it was like 300 miles to Cambridge, right, to my Mack dealer. And so I decided to stop. There's a Petro in Waterloo, New York, exit 47 or 48, I think 47. Anyway, I stopped here. There's nobody in the they had one truck in the shop, right? And these are shocks. Okay, my axle is 14,600, so maybe they're bigger than normal, right? But to me, like, shocks are shocks. And I park in front of the shop. I go inside, I check in, you know, give them my mileage, swipe my card, and I said, do you have them? Oh, we will not know, we have to look. That was the conversation, right? She says, we're not sure that. I said, well, these are just, I don't need the same specific shocks, but whatever works on my truck. And what kind of truck do you have? I said, Mack. Okay, well, we have to look at it. Okay. Park your truck in front of Bay 2. And I was near Bay 3, so I did this super complicated maneuver. Did a couple of circles around the truck stop. Finally, I'm back in front of Bay 2. The guy opens the door, I pull in. He opens my hood. I repeat, he opens the hood, takes out a pen and a piece of paper, and writes down cleans the shock on one side, and writes down with the pen, using his right hand, the six numbers from the side of the shock. So I'm just saying what he did, right? And then the guy says, I'll have to check on our computer, do a cross-reference, I'll be back. And he takes my key, you know, ties it down, very important, ties down the key to my mirror frame. And he goes away, comes back 5 minutes and 35 seconds later. And he says, no, we don't have them. Okay, and I look at my front wheel. Oh yeah, and he put blocks, chocks under my front tire. So he opened the hood, cleaned up the shock, wrote down the number, put chocks under the steer tire, tied down my key to the mirror, went, checked it on the computer. He came back, and he's not opening the door, he's not removing the chocks from under the wheel. I'm figuring, okay, so something is wrong here. So I go inside, and he's finishing typing up his report, and then that lady at the counter comes over to the computer and says, okay, And she starts typing something. I said, wait a second, you expect me to pay for something here? And she says, yeah, because I told you we had to look. You said they were regular, but we don't have these. We're not a dealer. I said, so you're not changing the shocks, right? She says, yeah, no, you'd have to go to the dealer. And I said, so what am I paying for here? Well, we still had to look. We opened the hood, we had to check on our system. And he called, I asked him to call before I knew that there would be money involved. I said, can you call like the TA 1 hour away towards Canada in Pembroke, see if they have it, then I would just leave and go there. But now it's late. I don't want to drive in the dark since I don't have to. And she says, and the guy called for you to find out if these shocks, they have them in Pembroke, and they don't. And she says, I said, why did you check the shock if you have them or not before I pulled in? Oh, we cannot do that. We have to, let me see. It was $39.60 US. $39.60 plus tax, so $42.70 for opening the hood, writing down the numbers, all the things that I just mentioned. I think they're making more money than dentists. It's kind of like, imagine the stupidity of this. Like, they think, like, she's looking at me, have a good day, sir. And I said nothing. I have this steel face. I'm so angry. Just climb in the truck. And the guy says, yeah, have a good day. I didn't say anything. I don't care what you guys think, but this, to me, this is like crooks. Crooks. They could not check the shocks before I pulled in and tell me they didn't have it, of course, because they want to make money at any cost. So just to put things into perspective, to show how stupid this is, see, that's Petro or TA, the same shit, in Waterloo, New York. That's the money over there. And the first thing I did, I opened Google Maps, clicked on the name of the business, and then you can go into reviews, and like 5 stars, you can give them 1, and then it says, tell others why you hated this place. And I explain why I hated the place, so at least they get 1 star from me. But to put things into perspective, if some guys and gals are thinking this is the way it should be, imagine this: you go into a dentist, and we all agreed that these guys are much better off than a dentist, because for 5 minutes of work, they charge $40. Well, $39 plus tax. But imagine you go into a dentist, right? And the dentist says, okay, yeah, you have a cavity, but we don't have that filling to fill that tooth. That's a special tooth, So where were you born? 1925. Oh yeah. You need to go to a special doctor. Where are you from? Florida. Oh shit. You have to go to Georgia, Louisiana, or best California. They will have your filling. We don't have a filling here, so go back to the front office, and we'll have to charge you for the time. And I had to, sprinkle some water in there, and there was some wear and tear on the seat. So $40. SERGEI out.